Have you ever noticed how your peace can bother people who used to feed on your chaos? These are the same ones who told you to heal and move on. Now they looking irritated that you actually did. Hi, I am Kim the Mystic, here to educate, empower, and protect your energy. Today we are breaking down 7 signs they are jealous of your peace. Make sure to stay until sign number 7, because that one, that's the betrayal that comes disguised as love. And once you see it, trust me, you will never be able to unsee it. Sign number 1, they minimize your calm. This first sign that someone is jealous of your peace is when they try to make your calm look like a flaw. Because to them, silence feels like punishment, not maturity. For example, let's say they say, "You acting brand new. You too quiet lately." That is just short for "you stop reacting the way I like it." I actually remember when I started choosing silence over arguments, suddenly my peace was a problem. They weren't actually mad that I changed, they were mad that I changed the dynamics. In psychology, that's called cognitive dissonance. That is when your calm doesn't match their expectation and it makes them uncomfortable. Instead of self reflection, they attack the change. See, this first sign is about minimalizing. The next one, it's about mimicking. Sign number 2, they imitate your peace but can't sustain it. The second sign is when they start copying your peace like it's a trend. They just don't want to look like the unhealed person standing next to you. For example, you ever see someone clown you for meditating or clown you for being spiritual, and then 2 months later they burn the sage and they quoting those same affirmations? Well, of course, they copied the ritual but skipped the accountability. They love the look of peace but not the work behind it. This is actually called surface level mirroring. This is jealous individuals copying behaviors that make them look powerful, but without actually doing the inner work, inner regulation, which causes them to collapse under pressure. And so when imitation doesn't give the same results, they don't reflect, they start provoking. Sign number 3, they bait you into arguments. The third sign is when they start trying to pull you back into what you've outgrown. You see, jealousy loves to test boundaries just to see if the old you is still there. For example, say they start suddenly picking at everything: your tone, your text, your timing, your dress, the way you say good morning, the way you speak, the way you conduct yourself. And say you text them good morning and they reply, "So what's good about it?" They just testing you to see if they can pull a reaction out of you. This is the provocation behavior. That's an insecurity driven tactic to establish emotional control. The moment you stay calm, they lose the supply. And trust me, I have lived this one. We are actually going to unpack this at what happened this Friday coming in the story time. Because what that person did once I stopped engaging, you're going to want to hear it. And I have had this feeling that I am not the only one. So get your schedules ready for Friday. All right, back to sign number 4. They go silent when you win. The fourth sign is when your peace starts paying off. And suddenly the people who clapped for your pain go quiet during your progress. For example, say you post good news on social media. and you get crickets. But the moment something goes wrong, they're going to be the first person in line with popcorn and a front row seat. And that is not support, that is surveillance. Psychologists call it comparative jealousy, which is your progress triggers their perceived lack. Silence during your success is a passive form of disapproval. Well, and when quiet, envy doesn't feel satisfying enough, jealousy usually escalates to gossip. Sign number 5, they gossip about your growth. The fifth sign is when jealousy starts to speak, not to you, but about you. They can't face your peace directly, so they twist the story to make it sound less powerful. For example, when they can't attack your peace directly, they rewrite the story behind your back. Let's piggyback off of the spiritual thing. So she acting spiritual now. Oh, he think he better than us. No, you just moved from that chaos to clarity, and that required distance. This is called projection. There's actually classic projection. They attribute their own insecurity onto you, creating a narrative that lets them feel superior. But gossip alone isn't enough for some. The truly jealous compare, compete, and camouflage. That becomes a concern. Which brings us to sign number 6. They compare their chaos to your calm. The 6th sign is where they start comparing lifestyles, not lessons, because your peace exposes their mistakes very loud. For example, say somebody throws something at you like, well, at least I speak my mind. No, that's a lie because you still argue with everyone. I'm going to tell you, real peace isn't silent from fear, it's silent from mastery. They confuse stillness with weakness because they've never felt safe without the noise. This is called emotional dysregulation. People who equate volume with power see tranquility as loss of control. And that actually threatens their identity. But all of this builds to one final sign, the one that hits closest to home, because jealousy does not always show up loud. Sometimes it shows up in love, which brings us to our final sign. Sign number 7, the betrayal that comes disguised as love. This sign is the one that's the most dangerous because people never see it coming. This is a betrayal that pretends to care. It's jealousy that smiles at you, prays with you, and secretly resents the parts of you that have healed. This one's the hardest to accept. It's the friend who says, I just want what's best for you. But somehow, every concern chips away at your confidence. Or it's the partner that pretends to be proud of you until your peace starts drawing attention that they can't control. And then their compliments start to come with correction, and their advice starts to come with doubt. This is a form of covert narcissistic jealousy. The individual disguises envy as guidance to maintain superiority. They erode your self-trust subliminally, just subtly, keeping you emotionally dependent while appearing supportive. And this is why sign number 7 is the most dangerous, because it's jealousy with the halo. And once you recognize it, you can never look at, I'm just trying to help you, the same again. Now that you understand why your peace makes noise when you're silent, jealous people, they don't hate you. They hate the version of themselves they see reflected in your calm. If this hit home, catch Friday's Bonnet Beliefs story time, when your peace offends people who haven't found theirs. Because we are going to unpack that situation that I mentioned earlier. And trust me, it's wow. And once you're done with that, go experience my guided meditation, releasing toxic attachments. Because awareness is step 1. Release is step 2. Because here on Kim the Mystic, we educate, empower, and protect your energy. And remember, your peace is the flex they will never understand.